So I want to welcome everyone tonight to our October 4th roundtable. And just a quick reminder right away that our next roundtable is November 20th. It is not the first Monday of November. It is the Saturday of Woe, and we will be in person at Moses from 3 to 4:30. So come for Woe and hang out for roundtable. And Peter, you are going to do our opening this evening, please.
Yeah. Ellie asked me to mention a few things because we had a great visit a couple of years ago, and we went out to Mount Rushmore. And a lot of people look at Mount Rushmore and they say, "What's it all about?" So here's everything you ever wanted to know about Mount Rushmore. Believe it or not, there was a guy working on Stone Mountain in Georgia. His name was Gutzon Borglum. He was working with on Robert E. Lee and Jefferson Davis and everything down in Georgia. And he was a disgruntled employee or something, and he got dismissed. So he went out west and out to an area in about 1925. And just some interesting things that in August 10th of 1927, Calvin Coolidge officially dedicated the beginning of the mountain, or Mount Rushmore as we know it there. But the carving didn't start until October in that year, and it was finished in 1941. Wow. To give you an idea, it's 700 meters long by 300 meters wide. The faces are 60 feet tall. The eyes are 11 feet wide, approximately. The mouths are about 18 feet wide. It's made from granite and older metamorphic rocks. 400 workers, and not one of them died during the construction, removed 450,000 tons of rock at a cost of just under $1 billion, $989,992.32. The 32 cents just kills me, but that's what they said. Now, just some interesting facts. There's a secret hidden cave or chamber behind Abraham Lincoln. And it's not open to visitors, but it contains 16 porcelain panels in a teak wood box inside a titanium vault that tells about the monument's history and information about America's history from 1776 to 1906. People are not allowed to climb it for obvious reasons. They don't want to wreck it up, and for safety. Originally, take a good look at this photo here, because if we start from the right, we see Lincoln, we see Teddy Roosevelt, we see Thomas Jefferson, and we see George Washington. Now, Ellie, will you go to the next slide, please? Now, would you take a look at George Washington's face? Look to the left of George Washington's face, and you see the beginnings of a face. That was supposed to be Thomas Jefferson, was supposed to be on that side of the of Washington. But the rock was a little unstable, so they shaved his face off and put him on the other side. That's a little known fact. We just discovered that when we were out there. It's really kind of unbelievable. Now, two other things that you might want to go back. Why don't you go back a slide, Ellie, please, to the original. There was actually a bill in Congress in 1937. They wanted to add another face onto it. Do you know who that face would have been? Does anybody know? And the reason it fell through because there was a rider on the original existing appropriations bill mandating that federal funds could only be spent on those carvings that had already begun. And so this had begun, and it wasn't finished until 1941, but they couldn't add the face. Anybody want to take a guess?
FDR.
Don't say Donald Trump because he wasn't president at that time. Okay?
FDR.
Yeah, I go with Cheryl on FDR.
FDR, good guess, but not right.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Oh, Reagan wasn't.
Woodrow Wilson.
Matt said Ronald Reagan, but the answer is no, Matt.
JFK.
Woodrow Wilson.
Not Woodrow Wilson. Great guesses.
JFK.
No, now this is back in 1937,
Oh.
mind you. In 1937, a bill introduced in Congress, they wanted to carve another face.
Susan B. Anthony.
Oh, Ellie, you knew the answer.
No, I
It
didn't.
was
I-
Susan B. Anthony. They
Really?
wanted to put
I was-
Susan B. Anthony on there.
Huh.
And do you realize that Mount Rushmore is actually unfinished? The Borglum died before the project was completed, obviously, and funding ran out. And only the heads and the bust you can see. But the original plan was to go further down the mountain. You can see Washington, you can see his neckline, his collar, and you can see his shoulder and the beginning of his arm. That was supposed to go all the way down, and it was all beyond anything they did, but they ran out of money, and so this is what it is today. And they say the best time to go is early in the morning to beat the crowds, because it is crowded and it's really neat. So that's everything you ever wanted to know about Mount Rushmore. But just think, what a difference it would be if Susan Anthony was actually on there. And why? Well, George Washington, the father of our country. Jefferson, obviously the primary author of the not the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution and the Declaration.
Peter, I'm going to interrupt you. The reason Jefferson is there is because of the expansion with the territory and doubling the size of the country.
The Louisiana Territory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lincoln, obviously, and Teddy Roosevelt. Why? Well, number one, he was a friend of Borglum. And the other thing is that, he took over the idea or started the idea of national parks and conserving a lot of the resources that we have throughout the country on the West. So that's all.
All right. Thank you, Peter, for that. That's a different kind of opening, and
It
it's
certainly
nice.
was.
Well, it's nice to vary the opening and not always be doing the same kind of thing every meeting.
If you didn't, by the way, if you didn't see your chat, thank you, Josh, for that addition. Susan B. Anthony was born in our council in Adams, Massachusetts.
Yeah. So
There's one more. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
What a beautiful smile you have. Too bad you're not live tonight. Are you there, Josh? I gotta bust him. Sorry,
So-
I'll be quiet. Oh, there he is. See, it brought him to life. Oh, come
Um,
on. Get back there, Josh.
Thank
Thank you, Ellie. That's all.
Okay, so today is the anniversary of the actual beginning of the work on Mount Rushmore. They actually started on October 4th, which is why I thought that might be a fitting opening for this evening. Moving on to council updates. Greg, what do you have for us?
Hey, Ellie. Let's see here. I'm gonna start off with something that came out recently, just that the guide to safe scouting was updated this month. And so on the screen are some of the highlights. The website up at the top is scouting.org/health-and-safety/GSS. And you can find this, the overview of the updates. The Guide to Safe Scouting is available online, and that is the most up-to-date version, and it's also available as a PDF download that you can have. So just want to make everyone aware of those changes. Really important to go look through them. A lot of times we assume we know what's in there, and we lose track of some the little pieces of it. Down at the bottom of the page, there's some frequently asked questions, and those are linked off of there as well. But quite a few are about prohibited activities, and they give some answers to those questions as well. And speaking of the prohibited activities, I'm not going to go through all of these, but they're up on the screen, and there'll be more. But the website does talk about that scouting program incorporates common activities that we do use throughout the year, swimming, cycling, for example, that have their own guidelines. So we can do those, but we have to do them within the parameters of the program as it is set up. So here are a few, shooting sports is obviously one of the larger ones with a lot of guidelines around it, and a new shooting sports manual is expected to come out this January. And move on. There's another section then where they talk about a number of the activities that that maybe youth and leaders are interested in getting involved with, but that they have unacceptable risks that have resulted in serious or even fatal consequences. The list itself, they say, is not comprehensive, but it serves as a definitive list of prohibited activities and offers a broad sense of what is not allowed as a scouting activity. And scouting leaders are encouraged to refer to this list when deciding on activities, and should reflect vigorously, as they say, on how any activity outside of our published program would resonate with the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. So the list that you're seeing here are those that are prohibited, with exceptions in parentheses. I won't go through all of them. Down at the bottom, they talk about trampolines and trampoline parks, but in parentheses, commercial facilities that meet the certain standards are permissible. It goes on talking about using accelerants to start fires, other than solid fire starters designed and manufactured for that purpose. Talks about activities where you're striking at each other, including the martial arts, some of the LARP activities, activities where we're shooting or throwing at objects at one another, such as rock throwing, and sox fights is something that was added, not in this update, but not too long ago. So we want to make sure that we look at these, the power tools, water chugging and eating or drinking competitions, such as Chubby Bunny or hot dog eating contests, have been added. And the last one on this page here is talking about intramural, interscholastic, or club sport competitions. And not to say that you can't play basketball in a scouting activity, but that scouting is not an alternative for competitive sports leagues to use the insurance of the Boy Scouts of America program for those activities. So we can participate, we can have those activities at our scouting events, but just not in an intramural type setting. So some really exciting activities coming up. WOA is also an opportunity for Jamboree on the air. Our ham radio folks will be there with an activity. So that's coming up in 2 weekends, and registration's on the website. Council Camporee is actually this weekend, and as of noon today, there were well over 200 people registered for that event from multiple councils. And I wanted to just point out that registration closes this Tuesday evening on our website. So if units want to sign up for that, they just have a few more days to do so. The Order of the Arrow announced their Fall Fellowship weekend in November. The theme is pancakes, and although I haven't figured out the connection, they are cooking an alligator. So if you are a member of the Pecumtuck Lodge or the Order of the Arrow and want to try some alligator, there'll be some tasting opportunities for you. And Nick Thornton asked me to highlight our night out for scouting and auction again, November 18th at the Log Cabin. We are accepting auction item donations at this time, and also ticket reservations are available online, $40 per person for us scouters to go, and $75 price for a couple. This is just the save the date, more information to come, but the first of the year, the Thunderbirds are going to be welcoming scouts into their arena with an open skate time before the game for our scouts, a special pricing for our scouts, families, and friends, and then an additional open skate for everybody afterwards. So look for more information soon. Chainsaw training. If you are interested in learning more about safe chainsaw usage, Tim, our ranger, is going to be providing that training towards the end of this month. It's a 2-day training, all day Saturday, and then Sunday morning. You're welcome to go home afterwards, but we are also making opportunity if people want to. They'll be permitted to camp out in the tea lodge or outside the tea lodge where they're most comfortable. So the training itself will just be during the day hours, but we want to make that option available for people. Your evening meals and stuff would be on your own. So that's now on our calendar if you're interested in just a save the date for Wood Badge 2022 with Mary Benjamin as our course director. Lots of training. I've had this up before, but AT has a training coming up next week online. And if you're interested in National Outdoor Conference, I know a number of people have signed up for that. It's taking place virtually this year. And I'm just on this, I'm going to highlight the 21st of this month. If you are a district chair, a member of the district key 3, you chair a committee on your district, or you're running an event for your district, we ask you to join us on Thursday, October 21st. That is our council coordinated committee meetings. And this is where all of those events for the districts and the councils are being worked on as a team. And so if you're in one of those positions, please join us in addition to the district committee meetings that you have scheduled this month. That is, you just click on the link on the website and it takes you right to the meeting. You don't even have to register for it. Workdays at Moses continue. And our trading post hours up there, if you want something brought up to WOA, we're happy to do that. Just call ahead so we can get that ready. We'll bring it up. And a reminder, we'll be closed on Monday, October 11th, but October 30th will be a special Saturday opening in the store. And I know I went through a lot of those things pretty quickly, Ellie, but hopefully people can go back to the video and pause the screen and reread it once it comes out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg. Our council commissioner, Joshua.
Good evening, everybody. It's great to see everybody. My big topic right now is all of the information that's coming out about charter renewal, because of course that is our most favorite time of the year as commissioners and as scouts and scouters alike. there is no better time than a charter renewal. So there has been a great deal of chatter going on. Although we don't have all the answers to everybody's questions when it comes to charter renewal, there is a great deal of information if you go here. Although this is the commissioner's material, there are a number of good videos that are available. One of them is the training that was just done a week ago related to how the system is supposed to operate. So I give you this information so that anybody and everybody who would like to be updated about the new charter renewal process has that information. The bottom line is, if you've never used Internet Advancement, you're going to want to start using Internet Advancement, because that's how they're accessing everything for rechartering for the upcoming year and going forward. The other piece that I will give you is this. Let's see. advancementspp.scouting.org. That, if you are a member of a unit's key 3 and you go to that website, you should be able to play around in the sandbox that they have created. Now, play nicely in the sandbox. You can't break the system, or you shouldn't be able to break the system, but you should be able to go in and play around and see what it will look like as long as you are a member of the key 3. Key date to keep in mind: everything goes live for charter renewal on October 15th. So that's when you'll be able to get in and start the process. If all things go well, you cross all your fingers, toes, eyes, whatever else, the charter renewal really should be really easy going forward. Should be. It shouldn't take very long to complete charter renewal. It should be quite easy. So keep our fingers crossed. As always, if you have any questions or need any assistance, feel free to contact your unit commissioner. Feel free to contact your district commissioner, and feel free to contact your council commissioner. Feel free to contact all 3 of us at the same time. That's perfectly acceptable too, because that's why we're here, to help you. Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you. Okay, district updates. Anything from AT? And I know this is going to be a little bit tricky because Rebecca doesn't have a working microphone. Joshua, are you?
AT.
Rebecca says she doesn't have anything for AT district.
Okay, all right. What about Metacomet?
Just our district committee meeting coming up Thursday night. Just extend an invitation to anybody and anybody to come and join us.
Okay, and from General Knox, our commissioner and committee meeting is on the 13th. November 1st is the Eagle Project drop-off date, and a reminder for everyone council-wide, November 7th is the Catholic Awards Mass at the Cathedral in Springfield. Okay, and moving right along, Fritz, would you like to talk about youth protection training?
I'll mention one thing about youth protection training. Remember that we're in the midst of membership growth period. We usually do a lot of this during the fall. Applications are processed kind of quickly. So I just want to make sure that unit leaders remember that a newly registered adult is supposed to give 3 references. Those references are supposed to be checked by somebody in the unit or preferably the chartering organization. Remember, that application gets signed by someone from the chartering organization rep or the institution head, and they are approving that application, which means they have checked the 3 references. And when that application comes to council and it's been signed off by the chartering organization, that tells the council that the references have been checked. Council office does not check references. Council office checks the Corey applications, and they are responsible for doing that. And National does a nationwide background check based on social security number. But the first line of defense is the unit and the chartering organization who are going to check those personal references and make sure all those questions have been answered. So please make sure that those things are done before you turn in your adult applications, because it will be assumed that that was done when those applications get down to the council office.
All right. Thank you very much, Fritz. Cheryl, do you have anything you want to give us a quick update about membership or anything?
Just that I really would hope that people are actively recruiting and take a look at the resources on the Marketing and Membership Hub, those webinars. There was a great webinar last week geared specifically to Scouts BSA units, the older kids, for normal family activities, normal friend activities, less formal kind of recruitment, but pretty effective. So take a look at that, and encourage folks to check their Bear Scout pins, make sure the buttons are activated so that people can apply that way. It's easy for families who want to join, and it's very easy for the unit leaders, for those families to have them sign up online. Everything's taken care of, and then you have the records and you're all set to add them into your roster and be ready for charter renewal.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Cheryl. Art, do we have any fundraiser information that you wanted to share at this point?
Certainly, and also to add on to membership first, I guess I'll do that first. Great. And keep thoughts going. So we have several new membership resources available. Again, Cheryl did refer to the page, but need to shout them out. The inflatable archery activity is now available for folks to take out to the community to use to recruit. It was out this weekend. We have the 10 by 10 canopy branded with all of our logos, again, to go out to community events. We have the popcorn machine that, even though it's related to the popcorn sale, certainly being able to pop popcorn again at community events is an attraction. So we have that. We also have new this year, we've brought in bookmarks again. There was a lot of folks asking for bookmarks. We've updated all of the pamphlets. There were pamphlets for each age group from kindergarten all the way up through explorers. And some of that was dated because, unfortunately, the last folks working on it put pricing information in it, even though most of the rest of the information was good. So now we have a priceless set of membership brochures for you to be able to use. You can either pick them up from us or download them. The links are also out there if you just want to print a few of them at home. Also need to mention that we've been having a contest up through the 15th of September or so. I don't have that exact date, was for units who had submitted membership plans, all of the various activities that they were doing to recruit members. There was a weekly drawing and deposits were made today into the unit accounts of those units who won. For $20 each week. We published all of that in the weekly e-newsletter. The current contest we have going on is all about threes and turning in applications. So for every whole multiple of 3, a unit will get a chance at a weekly drawing for $33. We've had a number of units that have turned in multiple applications already. Again, it is whole batches of 3, and those that are on the brink will send you a reminder of things that you need 1 more to get to 3, or whatever it might be. So that's going very well. I think our largest one so far has been something like 17 or 19 applications. Again, right now, the schools are very open to distribute flyers. Parents and children are very interested in joining. We've just got to get out there. The tactics that have worked best are having the flyers distributed and then having a gathering at a public park or something like that, not at a school, not at a church, but out in an open area. Those are the ones that are bringing in the most applications. Not that those other things can't work, but just telling you what we're seeing from success. And the newest thing to come on board is our story walk. As a matter of fact, since I see someone else here in the audience tonight, why don't I have a chance to introduce a part-timer we have at the office who is helping us with membership. Iris, how are you? So tell them about the story walk real quick.
Hi everyone. Yeah, last week we finished 2 story walk. We have Green Egg and Ham, and we also have the Lorax book in English and Spanish.
So those are available for you to check out and take to your community. Advertise them in advance that it's coming. It's aimed at young people from kindergarten through 3rd or 4th grade.
Wonderful. Okay.
So on fundraising, popcorn is in its still out there. We're distributing to all who ordered it, chocolate popcorn at the end of this week. That's coming in. We have all of the final orders for take order are due on November 1st. All of the returns, if you have any show and sell left over, is October 30th. So that's what we have going on there. So, and it's still not too late to get involved in popcorn. Again, the few units who are involved, as you would say, are killing it. We have over $90,000 worth of product that's already been moved through the council to units, and most of them are asking for more. So it's not too late. Get involved in our Camp Master Popcorn program. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Great. We're going to move on now to our newer element of talking about district and district functions. And I'm going to share a screen, and we're going to have Joe talking about, Joe's going to be talking about the COR.
Yes, good evening. So Chartered Organization Representative. I hope each of you knows the name and has contact regularly with your chartered organization representative. I happen to be the chartered organization representative for a troop and a pack. And so I'm actively involved. Unfortunately, a lot of CORs are not actively involved. And so maybe reaching out to them and asking them to have a greater presence in the activities of your unit would be beneficial. As Fritz noted earlier, youth protection training is a requirement for any newly registered leader. And as you see on the bottom of the first column there, the review and approval of adult leader applications is one of the things that a charter organization representative or the institutional head is typically expected to do. One of the controversies right now with regard to the national bankruptcy has to do with chartered organizations having difficulties because of maybe not always having exercised that responsibility. And so it seems to me that this is incumbent upon the charter organizations to fulfill that responsibility. A COR does have to do youth protection training. And so that's a requirement. Sometimes if there's a turnover in the QR for the local unit, that means just as with a new adult leader, that is an adult leader, and a new YPT is required for that person, including everything else, the Corey and the National Criminal Background Check. The CR is a member of the Key 3 of the unit. So the leader, the Cub Master, Scout Master, or whatever, and the chair for the committee and the CR are in there. And so just as in the district, there should be conferring of key 3s. Frankly, there should be CORs involved in the Key 3 consultation every so often. And particularly if they're going to be involved, invite them to the district, to the unit committee meetings, because they should be involved in that way. They're the liaison between the unit and the organization. And that means if there's an issue with the chartered organization, it should be brought up through the CR or directly to the institutional head. Ideally, the CR is helping with the annual charter renewal process and is one of the ones who can sign off for the charter organization on the annual charter renewal. Representing the organization, the CR is actually a member of the district and of the council, and can vote at those meetings, those annual meetings of the district and the council, and represents the charter organization at those places. It'd be neat if some CORs attended roundtables. And again, the next column is really just a list of ways in which the CR can assist by encouraging the unit in recruitment and program, camp attendance, advancement, and so on. You can read the list. And at the bottom there, to cultivate resources of support for the unit. This could be through the organization itself. It could be through the community. So these are the ways in which ideally the chartered organization representative is helping the unit. Again, it's back to the first point that I made, and that is that the COR or the institutional head has the responsibility for reviewing the references on any new adult application and signing off on behalf of the chartered organization. It doesn't help later on to say, oh, well, I didn't do that, when in fact there's a problem with the background of an individual. So that's a lead responsibility for the CORs. Back to you, Ellie.
Okay, thank you. Great. Now we're going to move on to Fritz, and Fritz will have some information for us about rechartering.
Okay, thanks, Ellie. I sent an email out over the weekend to unit Key 3s in General Knox District. So if you didn't get it and you're a Key 3 member, look in your spam folder. I did not send out 157 separate emails. I sent out 2 large groups of emails, so it may very well have wound up in your spam folder. So take a look for it there. It just has some suggestions on how to get ready for this coming rechartering, and there's really not a whole lot new there. As you know, the BSA is doing it online again this year, but it's a different process, a different location to do this. So there aren't any passwords that you're going to get or anything like that. You go to the Internet Advancement and use whatever password you've been using if you're a Key 3 member to get into that. And that's where you would do your recharting. It looks very much like Scoutbook. The email that I sent out kept referring to Scoutbook because it all looks the same to me. And I chatted with Art and with Greg briefly, and it looked the same to them as well. So when you look at the rechartering page, it's going to look a lot like your Scoutbook roster page. So just be aware of that and be aware that you should be working with Scoutbook. So my suggestions are that if you don't have an account yet, you should do that and get that set up so that it's all ready to go come recharter time. You should make sure that all of your current people, youth and adults, have accurate information there, accurate contact information, up-to-date information. Sometimes people change their email addresses or they move, or adult leaders change positions. You can do all that ahead of time through Scoutbook and make sure that you're ready to go when you're ready to do the rechartering thing. The piece that usually takes the longest is getting commitments from people and getting payments from people. So I would recommend that you start doing that now if you haven't done that already, and try to get folks committed to the 2022 scouting year and make arrangements for them to make those payments that they need to do that. You might want to set a deadline so that you're not late actually filing or turning in or submitting that charter. Again, I'm going to mention youth protection training. All of your adult leaders, registered leaders, need to be current in youth protection training. So if they're not, you should know that and encourage them, or if they're going to expire in January, February, have them take it early so that they will be good for another 2 years with youth protection training. You can turn in your charter with people who are not current in youth protection, but it's going to sit in limbo until those people finish the training. It's not going to get looked at. You're not going to get reminded. It's just going to sit there, and you're going to have to take responsibility for following up and making sure that that training is completed. Okay, so do that first, get that done ahead of time so you don't lose track of what's going on. Speaking of training, this is just a pet peeve of mine. Fewer than half of our volunteer leaders are position-specific trained in the council. And I would encourage your leaders to please, please, please take position-specific training. I personally do not understand how anybody can deliver a quality program if they don't know what a quality program is supposed to be and how they can deliver a quality program. So get those leaders trained. We have some units that have only one person trained, and it's a den leader or a committee member, and it's not even a member of the Key Three. We have a whole lot of chartered organization representatives who are not trained, and I think it's just because they don't understand that this is an important position in the unit, and they can be much more effective and make their unit stronger by taking that training. So all the registered leaders can make their units stronger by taking the training, position-specific training, so they know what their job is and they know how to do their job. There is a video that is available. I put it in the chat. So this is probably among those things that Josh sent out, but you don't need to be a Key Three person to look at this. It's a nice little training on how this process is actually going to work and the steps you need to go through. It's very visual. It takes you step by step through the whole process, so that if you're a Key Three person or a designee, and if you're designated to do that recharter process, you can use your password to get in and do that, but you have to be designated to be able to do that. This whole system is scheduled to be put into effect on October 15th. So we all have our fingers crossed to make sure that that happens. And please don't wait until the last minute to go in to the system and try to do this. There might be glitches, there might be things you weren't expecting that you need to do before you can finish. So I would encourage you to get in there by November 1st, ready to go, or thinking that you're ready to go, work through the process and see what else you need to do before you can finish it off and turn everything in. In addition to this, I'm sure there will be things that council will ask you to turn in along with your chartering stuff. One of those is a Friends of Scouting commitment form that will allow you to set up a date for a Friends of Scouting presentation. Someone from council will come out and do that presentation, and that will allow your families to help support Scouting through the council. And whether or not they do is up to them, but they should be given the opportunity to say, yes, I want to support the council with a contribution. Secondly, a Journey to Excellence scorecard should be turned in. The workbooks are available and have been for several months, so it's easier to work that process through the whole year rather than try to do it all at the end of the year. So you can pull up that scorecard, go through your committee meeting minutes and put in your dates for those and for outdoor activities that you've done and who's trained and who's been actively participating in events and so on, so that you can get the highest score that you can to demonstrate that you're delivering a quality program. So those are a couple of things that we'll probably ask you to turn in along with your recharter paperwork. And again, I encourage you to look at that video, and it takes about 15 minutes. It's not long. And go back to it a couple of times so that you understand what it is that is supposed to be done to get your charter done in a timely way. They told us way back in August that it would take 58 seconds to do this, to do the rechartering. And if everything is all lined up and you're all set to go, when you open that up, it'll probably take you just a couple of minutes to do in reality. But you have to be ready. If you're not ready, it's going to take you a long time, like it always does if you're not ready. So I wish you good luck. If you have any questions, ask your unit commissioner or ask me or ask Josh or hate to say ask Art, but he's the recharter guy at the council office. Don't call him, send him an email. He's very busy, and when he gets a chance, he will get back to you as quickly as he can, and so will the rest of us. So don't hesitate to ask questions if you have them. Thanks, Ellie.
Great. Thank you so much, Fritz. Rechartering is one of those things that we hate to, we have such angst about it because we need to do it, but we end up with some different things. So Peter, you've got a hand raised.
Yeah, thank you. Fritz is right. And I think, I hope everybody heard him, because it seems to be, Fritz, and correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the major hangups of rechartering every year seems to be youth protection training, and then getting everybody to commit. So if everybody, like you said, if they start early, make sure you get your membership rolls up to date, get your new kids, your recruiting done, get your leaders in tow, but isn't it one of the things every year, isn't the biggest blockade, it seems, people don't have their youth protection up to date? Question.
I would say
that's always an issue, and then there's a glitch, and you've got a million adult leaders starting on December 15th trying to take youth protection training, and it just doesn't work that way. Now's the time to do it if you've already run out, and there are a lot of people who have and aren't aware. Nobody's tracking that in their units. Now's the time to check and make sure that you're up to date. Again, if you're going to expire in January or February or March of next year, I would say go ahead and take it. It's not going to hurt you to get ahead of the game.
And running a close second to the youth protection piece is scrambling for signatures. And that's where your chartered org rep can help you out as well. So
and something just hit me. I'm having brainstorm here, folks, so watch out. Do we have, or could we have, some sort of incentive for units who have all of their 100% of their leaders are trained, specific, position specific trained, some sort of incentive, sort of like we did with camping and whatnot, and then 100% of youth protection. Number one, I don't understand why we don't have 100% youth protection in the entire council. If it's the only mandated training in all of Boy Scouts of America. And so, maybe an incentive there. I don't know. I don't know what kind of incentive it would be, but getting trained leaders. And then how about, do we have some sort of incentive of getting your rechartering done by Thanksgiving early? I mean, what do we got to lose? We got to start thinking outside the box. And there's some units, I'm sorry, but some units it's the same unit year after year after year after year with the same kind of problem. So we have to do something different to light a fire or something. But I'm with you, Fritz, 100%. But think outside the box. We've had awards in the past, or at least mentions with membership.
Peter,
why not do it for that? I'm sorry, I'm going off and getting excited here.
I've got to cut you off because we have to get to breakouts. We can save that for the forum later.
Yes, dear.
Okay, thank you, dear. Okay, Greg, would you put us into breakouts, please?
It's the bulk of the commission staff.
Exactly.
It does. It almost looks like a commissioner meeting.
It sure does.
Greg, you're in transit from your job?
No, my son has Monday night troop meetings, so I'm pulling double duty.
That happens.
Yeah.
All right. So I kind of made a slide presentation for this evening for our meeting. We are doing new member coordinator. Oh, right. It's been a while. I have to remember to share my screen. There we go. All right. So my first question is, does everybody use or know what a new member coordinator is? Yes, no?
Yes, I do it with our pack and our troop, but I'm not the specific position.
Okay. All right. So basically a new member coordinator basically welcomes all the new parents that are coming in, welcomes the new scouts. I found a little video that actually kind of explains what a new member coordinator does. So let's see if I can pull that up. Oh. And we've got ads. Can everybody hear that?
No.
No.
Oh.
It's moving, but no sound.
No sound. Hold on.
Did you click the sound thing when you did share screen?
Oh, I don't think I remember to do that. All right, stop sharing. Share screen with sound. There we go.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Help Hub and Scouts BSA units onboard new members into their unit. There are a lot of positions for volunteers to do. You might be asking yourself, why do you need a new member coordinator? As someone who's done this job in the Cub Pack as Cub Master and continued to do it as Scoutmaster, now Assistant Scoutmaster, I can tell you that there are great benefits that you can reap from having someone do this task. Nationally, there's a great attrition to new people joining one of the scouting programs. And while I was able to do this job successfully as Cub and Scoutmaster, there are lots of things pulling for attention, and it's easy to let the new folks get lost in the woodwork. Looking from their perspective, it's all new. We wear different clothes. We have an air of a paramilitary group. We go outside, we play in the dirt, and it looks like all the kids are huddled together in unintelligible groups. Someone to walk through the scout and the parent through this important time helps keep them engaged in the program and lets them understand the program and the expectations of everyone involved. The role of a new member coordinator at the unit level is pretty straightforward. They share the benefits of scouting, coordinate recruitment, and guide the joining and welcoming process. It's also suggested that coordinators work as part of a team that collaborates to work with new members to develop get-to-know-you guides, events, and materials to engage new members. The position is a great introductory position to future leadership opportunities. It can make someone who's relatively new to your unit part of the team. Getting someone who did not attend committee meetings or even meetings to come down and participate in an important way. Being that the new member coordinator position comes with its own built-in authority, as new people want to hear what they have to say and will ask questions and be engaged, it's an attractive position without a lot of the downsides you see in other positions that deal with discipline, money, and management. This is why it's a perfect position to recruit for. And as you know, as people age out and move on, you look down your bench to have people fill in the vacant positions. New member coordinators are encouraged to wear the newly designed welcome pin, name tag, hat, vest, or shirt. The position does not require a uniform, as the thinking is that families new to scouting feel more comfortable when they're greeted by someone dressed more like they are. In my opinion, as someone to integrate into the unit in the position would be to wear the PAC's or troops Class B uniform. That's a scouting t-shirt with the welcome pin. The only real requirement for a new member coordinator is enthusiasm and a belief in the program. The coordinator needs to be able to answer some questions, but if your unit is in any sort of shape, they have some of those answers written down. Things like costs for the unit, costs for trips, what to buy, where to buy it, are all questions every parent asks. So it's not something totally unknown to all the people in the unit. The easy part is that you're not alone if you have a team. You can pool your information and you can always have the adult leadership to answer any questions you may have gotten asked. But this is what works for us. Take what you like, leave the rest, and as we say in Woodbatch, feedback is a gift. Leave yours below in the comments with all the hope.
So, we got our new member coordinator. And there is training for them. You can find them at their my.scouting. I did look it up, and if you went in, you go enter the position-specific training, and you would find the link there. Additionally, you'd also, some additional trainings that they can find there is the benefits of scouting, coordinating and recruiting, joining and welcoming, are all there on the Learning Center. So one of the things, our PAC has a new member coordinator, and let's see, one of the things that we do, she has folders that are all coordinated for each rank, and there's information in there. Includes the registration information, includes an application if they haven't filled one out online. It has the the
Calendar.
it has our PAC calendar, the family talent survey in there. That's what I was trying to think of. And then it has information on there about uniforms. So what each rank would need for a uniform, such as your hat, your neckerchief, your shirt, and things like that. What else do we have in there? Oh, it has all of our PAC information in there too. So all of our contact numbers for everybody as well. I had a picture of it, but I didn't get it in time, so I couldn't get it in my slides. So, are there any questions about new member coordinators? And how to use them, how to incorporate them?
I just think that they're such an asset to the units, those units that use them. I think they're a huge help, and they really do help onboard the families and make them feel much more comfortable coming into this situation, you know, into scouting, which is so different from sports events. So, and you know, sporting activities. So.
Absolutely. You know, and you come in and, you know, as you get used to the program and you know the ins and outs, and, you know, you use all the, you know, the key terms of, you know, and it's like, everybody's like, what is a COR? What is this? What is that? And it's like, oh, right. You don't know all our lingo, you know? So, you know, having somebody there that, you know, can relate and it's like, oh yeah, I've learned what that is, and this is what it is. And, you know, because the longer you're in it, the more you've caught on, and sometimes coming into a new situation can be very overwhelming. So definitely having somebody who can kind of bridge the gap there for your units.
And someone who's there in person.
Mm-hmm.
To bridge that gap. When you're doing online training or something like that, yes, you're getting the information about a COR or a district committee and things like that. But someone like the welcome position, you know, it just makes it much more personable and can then direct you and introduce you to the people who you need to know if you have more questions.
Mm-hmm. We also make available the opportunities for the adults, the parents that are coming in for any of the positions that they, you know, are for, like committee chair members, even den leaders, or assisting as a den leader and things like that. So we let them know there's a lot of opportunities for them also within scouting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I had two other things to share. Let's see. One of the things a nice thing to send home with your kids as they're coming in is a cute little craft. You can kind of put all your little pony beads in a bag with a string and the card. Something for them to help learn the Scout Law, and they can attach it to their backpack or whatever. Just something for them, the new Scouts and their parents, to do, just to help start learning the Scout Oath, the Scout Law. And the other thing I have is a song.
Tom's been gone 10 years.
There's an ad.
They dredged the lake. He wasn't there.
Here we go.
Oh, we've got the songs. And I will attempt to get all these for you. Okay, so I've got that Cub Scout spirit. Hey, if any of you want to come and join me because you like it, that's awesome. I'd love to have you guys do it with me. If not, I will still do this. Okay, so it goes. I've got that Cub Scout spirit up in my head, up in my head, up in my head. I've got that Cub Scout spirit up in my head, up in my head to stay. I've got that Cub Scout spirit deep in my heart, deep in my heart, deep in my heart. I've got that Cub Scout spirit deep in my heart, deep in my heart to stay. I've got that Cub Scout spirit down in my feet, down in my feet, down in my feet. I've got that Cub Scout spirit down in my feet, down in my feet to stay. I've got that Cub Scout spirit all over me, all over me, all over me. I've got that Cub Scout spirit all over me to stay. Oh, gosh. I got that Cub Scout spirit up in my head, deep in my heart, down in my feet. I've got that Cub Scout spirit all over me to stay. I need that. Thank you.
Since you got a full body workout.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But it shows us, that we can be fun and goofy with our kids too, and they enjoy it. So.
They do. And the thing about singing and Cub Scouting and everything is a lot of times I would have parents at Cub Scout camp going, well, I don't sing. And I look at them and I go, I don't sing either, but we're at Cub Scout camp and it doesn't matter how well you sing. In Cub Scouting, all you have to do is sing with enthusiasm. So
absolutely.
That's the piece. Off key, out of tune, out of sync, doesn't matter. Enthusiastic is what counts.
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Melanie, how's everything going with your unit?
We're doing good. PAC is a little slower, low on numbers. We're hoping to get a recruitment soon and get some flyers out to the schools.
Yeah. And Bradley, how about yours? Did we lose Bradley? Does he need to unmute? Oh, he's got no mic. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Since we're here and we've got a lot of commissioners here, but between Melanie and Bradley, what can we do to enhance roundtables so that we're getting more leaders to come?
I think Brad is a commissioner also.
He is.
Yes.
Unit commissioner, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Molly, I sent invitations, reminders
Yeah.
to with the link to register. And I think having it, and it was, the announcement was in with the topics covered, which I think is an improvement. So I'm going to keep doing that. Hopefully we'll get the units to come.
I think it's in the weekly, the e-news that comes out from the council, but I know sometimes those are really long and there's 20 different things, so it's easy for things to get buried. So
yeah,
I'm not sure what to do there. Is roundtable more important than popcorn? Is more important than the camporee? Everything's important. So
right.
But,
well,
at least making sure that those are in there.
Yeah. One of the things I want to get better at is now after tonight doing a follow-up for this week's newsletter or for next week's newsletter. If you didn't attend roundtables, here's what you missed. You missed the information about the new member coordinator. You missed a song. You missed a really neat way of teaching Cub Scouts the Scout Law. And for more information and to get things up and coming is and give the topics for next month. So okay.
When you do that, you could give the link where they can see the YouTube, the recording of this too.
Oh, yes. Thank
that
you.
might be more positive than what they missed, but where to find hints on what they missed might be productive.
Yeah.
I'm not an advertising man, so I often get discouraged in reminding people to do things. But think about advertising. How many advertisements does it take to get you to buy a new car or to buy some product that's on sale at the grocery store that you might go to anyway. And how often do you need to be reminded that that sale is ongoing? So I agree that we need to remind folks who never come that this is a worthwhile experience and it can be fun, even though it's a Zoom meeting and we don't have to work out singing Cub Scout spirit, but it's fun to watch somebody else work out doing it and remind us that singing indeed can be fun. And I remember 30 years ago when I was a Cub Scout, we always had a song every single pack meeting, whether the kids liked it or not, or whether the parents liked it or not. And I made sure that everybody stood up and sang along with me, and that I wasn't going to be the only one like this poor Scoutmaster or Cub Master was. So I think it just takes reminding people over and over and over again that we're doing this. And being enthusiastic about those reminders and constantly inviting people to come, just like we invite them over and over again to come to summer camp and to WOA weekends and so on. And how long did it take to get the WOA weekends to really be successful and fill up that camp every third or second Saturday or whenever they are? Because people wanted to come and camp and have a program already made. They didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was show up from their campsite and have a great day at camp. It took a couple of years, I think, for that to, from kickoff to really being successful. And we need to remember that with Roundtable too. Just keep reminding people and asking them to come.
Thank you, Fritz. Okay. Looks like we have a minute before we go back to the common session or the big room, but I'm hoping people will enjoy and take advantage of the forum, the time that we have for the forum as well. Okay.
Thank you, Rebecca, for your presentation.
Oh, you're
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you. That was a nice job on that.
That was great. I love that thing with the beads. I think that is just fabulous.
Yeah. Connor has, I mean, he has all sorts of danglies on his backpack and he loves things. And like, I work at the high school and his school is at the top. And I sat there and I listened to him walk the entire way up going jingle, 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 jingle. I was like,
we're gonna, we've got 20 minutes, but let's see what we can do here. So tonight's topic is patrol. Yeah, I have a Cub Scout hanging to my right here. Go ahead. Say hi, Aiden.
Hi.
See, Aiden's our newest Cub Scout, and he happens to be my grandson. So he's sitting here, so pay attention, take notes. So we're gonna talk about patrol cooking and why we do it. So I'm going to share a screen if I can find it here.
What kind of screen?
There we go. PowerPoint.
Oh, there it is.
We'll go like that.
That's a weird screen.
How's that? Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Why?
Perfect.
Good. So why patrol cooking? Good question. So I thought we'd start with what the definition of a patrol is for those of us that don't know. Basically, it's just a small group of scouts, BSA, within a troop. They elect a patrol leader and function almost like a family within a troop. And they divide up the chores to be done and work together as a group to meet their goals. Then I figured, well, while we're at it, what is the patrol method? And according to BSA, it's a small group learning technique where a group of 4 to 8 scouts form a team to work together to meet their goals. So with that said,
That's a lot.
that is a lot. With that said, I thought, let's talk about the cooking and program features. We'll watch a little presentation. Whoops, if it works.
They're very long.
Won't be a minute. There we go. Don't worry, it's only a couple minutes.
Ah, okay. Just wondering.
The cooking program feature is a paper, and there are many ways to present learning content. Scouts love to eat, so it's easy to understand how they can really get into cooking. Other programs.
This sounds a little hard, George.
I can't fix that.
When you shared it
Did you click the little box that said share computer sound?
Thought so. So no one can hear it?
We can hear it a little through your speakers.
It's choppy.
I can hear it very well.
We can hear it.
Yeah, we can hear it. It's very loud.
I don't know if I can fix that.
Maybe I guess it's just like that. I guess it's just part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do that? I stop the share and then I go back in and make sure I click the little box. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. If I go to there, right. Let's try that again.
Try it again, or else.
Technical difficulties.
Or else this might not work for us.
That and is that better?
In scouting, there's
so
nothing
good.
like camp cooking.
Is that much better?
It requires developing skills and careful planning, conscientious preparation, lots of organization, and all this along with a variety of special techniques. And besides all these positive character-building opportunities, of course, there's the food itself and the eating.
Main thing is don't drop it, splash the hot oil up on you.
It's gonna be delicious. Now they're knowing how to cook.
Chicken turned out.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Oh man. Really good.
Look at this.
Nice.
Look at this.
So basically, I know it's hard to see with the thing up there, is, you know, why patrol cooking? And here are some of the key things for it. You know, builds a sense of responsibility and teamwork. Helps scouts develop leadership and communication skills. Actually develops and strengthens life skills. Helps in planning, preparing, and organization skills. Positive character building. Builds self-confidence and independence. It's also an opportunity for scouts to be involved in creative. And it's a great exercise in group problem solving. So in a nutshell, now we know why. I mean, that's pretty much it. You learned a little about the patrol method, and you learned about what, you know, the patrol and the cooking and why we do it and what they get from it. So how do we get started? So I figured, you know, now we know the why. So how do we do it? For those of us that are sitting here, what's this all mean? How do I get it going? So first thing you need to do is when you guys have your trip and you want to implement the patrol method for your camp outs, you got to hold a camp out planning meeting. Now, that's different for a lot of different troops, and a lot of times it's different depending on how many scouts are going. So for example, if you have your entire troop, I mean, some troops only have 5 scouts in them, some have 30. Let's say your whole troop is going and this particular camp out, and what you want to do is hold a planning meeting. Well, then you can do that at your regular troop meeting. You know, if you want to give up one of your troop meetings for that, that's fine. A lot of times, like this weekend for Camp Moses, I mean, I have roughly 30 kids in the program, and I only have 10, I think 10 going to Moses. So I'm not going to do a planning meeting during a troop meeting. So I usually do that either before or after. In my case, we usually do it after the troop meeting. That way the kids are focused on what's, you know, the meeting, the planning portion of it. So, okay, so now you've got your sign-up sheet and you know a planning meeting, and here's your list, right? I've got 10 scouts that are going, and roughly, you know, the patrol that's going, that group, depending on what we're doing, like Moses, I'll probably break them up into 2 groups or 2 patrols. So I would personally, I usually take the list, or my SPL will look at it and, you know, break them up. Sometimes we break them up into, you know, new scouts or the younger scouts and then the older scouts. I guess you say old school. I kind of like a lot of new scouts with a couple older scouts in each one. So using the edge method back and forth, you know, little guidance there. But bottom line is you divide them up in patrol. If you know, if you have a small troop, there's only 5, 6 of them going, well, then that's your patrol. Then I have the scouts assign a patrol leader. Usually, again, if your whole troop's going, well, that's pretty simple. Your senior, your SPL is your leader for your group. But once you divide up your scouts for the activity for this weekend, that each patrol has to have someone in charge, youth leader in charge, so they can pick that scout that they want. A lot of times I've seen it usually gravitates, you know, the ones in your group that step up to be leaders. The older scouts usually want to do it all. Sometimes I have to encourage them to step back and let one of the younger ones do it. And then you have to provide a camp out planning form. So that's right. So now you have your scouts together in a planning meeting. They divide up patrols. They pick a leader in their patrol that's going to basically, you know, run their patrol for the weekend. But now they need the form to do that. This is just one simple form in the chat. I think Matt's going to share a link. Keep it simple. This form, Mike sent me another form I think his troop uses. It's, you know, there are just two different ways. I think they're both BSA forms. This one here, the link I sent, I think both of them are editable. So I want to say Mike's is in Word format and this one's in Excel. I just took it and tweaked it up a little bit for our troop. We added a Friday night evening for the Cracker Barrel type thing, you know, a couple other things. So, but bottom line is in the chat, it should be there. I can't see it yet, but it should be there. If it isn't yet, it will be. And you can, you know, go ahead and download that and use it as you see fit. Now you'll notice on the planning form, there's a lot of things. This is why it's important, because not only are your patrol leader, and if they pick an assistant patrol leader to, you know, to be his assistant or her assistant for the weekend, you know, they're gonna put the scouts' names all right here. You know, we're scouts and, you know, they're attending, and then they start putting their meal plan, and this is the food that they're gonna bring, like as they brainstorm. I'll get that to a minute. You know, our troop does, when they do the shopping, we have what we call a deposit or a $10, it's, what do you call it, starter money. So in other words, when they come to do their meal planning, which we usually do, we try to do at least a week before the trip. So like last Wednesday, they did their meal plan for Moses 911. Each scout going brings $10. That's seed money. And what that is that in our troop, one scout usually goes and buys the food, and it's a rotation thing that they do. But bottom line is the scout goes to buy food. So if there's 5 scouts, you know, in his patrol, he should be leaving with $40. So, you know, their parents have some seed money, because you have to keep in mind, there are families that, you know, don't have that extra disposable income to just shell out $100 and, you know, not worry about it. So we came up with a little seed money to help with that. That seems to work really well. And then that scout, you know, does the shopping, is responsible to get the remaining funds, and we'll get that in a minute. But basically that's what this form is. It's just so that scout, whoever's doing in charge of the money, they can keep track of who gave the deposit, who paid in full, so forth. And then, you know, again, who's shopping for the food down at the bottom. And that we started years back is the planning forms get signed by a leader. It doesn't matter. It could be the SPL too, as long as it's a balanced meal plan. In our troop, we don't allow sodas. We don't allow monster drinks and all that stuff. Actually, the troop provides on every camp out, you know, water, some form of Gatorade or, you know, bug juice or something. But bottom line is it has to be balanced meals and stuff. And then the right-hand side of the list, as you see, is a shopping list. It's, you know, basically they just check off aluminum foil matches, you know, charcoal-based stuff. And then they just list the stuff they want for their meal plans. They put their menu together, and then they just put a shopping list. So, got it. So anyways, bottom line is, so breaking that out a little bit. So like what's next? So that your scouts get together, and basically what they have to do is, you know, they start collecting ideas from each scout. So you're at your patrol leader now is trying to get the other scouts to come up with ideas for their meals, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Cracker Barrel, desserts, all that stuff. But a lot of that is based on what the event schedule or like the type of trip you're doing. So for example, Moses 911, they got a lot of stuff they're doing this weekend. So you know what? I would be doing Dutch oven cooking. Like they came to me and said, geez, we want to do Dutch oven breakfast burritos and jelly filled donuts and all this stuff. Yeah, that's not really a great time, but we can do another camp out. Or, you know, if they're really gung ho, like dinner is maybe more time at Moses 911, for example. So they have 2 or 3 hours they can do something. So a lot of times I'll have the patrols keep it simple in the morning, keep your lunch quick, you know, whatever it is, you know, usually it's sandwiches and stuff. And then dinner, they can get into the, you know, more of the cooking things that they like to do if they want to broaden their horizons and stuff. It's also a great opportunity if some of them came with recipes. I have a couple scouts that are really big into it. So they come already, hey, I want to do this type thing. I want to, you know, I want to cook a pigeon in a piece of foil or something. That's, you know, they got this recipe, let's go for it. And then again, the shopping list, they complete the form, and then we sign a scout to do the shopping. And then again, a leader, SPL, signs off on it. Shopping can be done many different ways. Basically, in our troop, it's just, you know, one scout takes the list, they go get the food, and for the camp out, and they come back with the food and the receipt. And that receipt is what they use. Remember, that seed money. So any money that's over that, they need to, you know, get the extra funds from all the other scouts. So the scout actually here gets to learn, you know, dividing it out, how much each person owes, and they're responsible to get those remaining funds. Each scout can be assigned, or you can assign a part of the shopping list. Like, you know, okay, you can do it by meals, you can do the breakfast, you're going to do, you know, lunch, you the scout over here, you're going to go get dinner, and, or, you know, any way you want to come up with it, basically. You can, you know, it's up to how you want to do it. I mean, our troops had probably the most success with just one person. Usually we do food shopping, by the way, they always plan for a little extra food. And the rule in the troop is that whoever does the food shopping, any food that's left over goes home with that scout. That solves any fighting and all that stuff, or any extra, you know, the extra Fruit Loop or something. Cooking, it's pretty simple. Preparing a meal should involve all the members of patrol. Assign the tasks. And each scout in the patrol is responsible for duties that are needed for that meal. So the, you know, getting the water, you know, from cooking, fire, if you're cooking on fire or charcoal or what have you, there's ovens, you know, the stoves, and cleanup is part of that too. And so, I'm sorry about that. Seating and eating, or serving and eating, it's basically they eat as patrols. And the benefit to that brings the kids together. You know, I use the term all the time, you know, break bread, you know, together as a family, it builds bonds. Scout is reverent, and, you know, each scout leads the patrol with grace of their choice. One of the things we have in our troop years back, well, actually a wood badge project for me years back, is I made prayer cards. It was 10 laminated prayer cards, like luggage tag laminators, and stuck them in each patrol box in the troop. You know, does it happen all the time? No, but I encourage it. And, you know, the kids have gotten used to it, where they'll pull it out and, yep, let's do grace. Because not every meal is a sit down meal either. So it usually just happens at dinner for the most part, with our groups. But, you know, it's just an idea. And we know how it works at summer camp, same thing. So they're used to it. Food served by the cook, or they assign someone that serves the food out. You know, this basically just a way, it's just, you know, members of the patrol, you know, they're working together, and you're basically in that way, you know, when you do it that way, scouts come up with their plate, it's served out, just kind of like, you know, restaurant style. And then, you know, and they come up for seconds, you know, it just, you make scouts, it helps them, you know, keep other scouts in mind about portions. You know, I mean, you want to make sure you got enough for everybody, you got to consider all. So that's a good way, again, working together as a team, in their skills for them as a patrol. So that's all great, but what about us? So there's 2 ways to do as leaders. Sometimes I do this, leaders, you know, we eat at different patrols, you know, basically we just sit down with them and hear what they're, usually what I do is I grab a coffee and sit with them and, you know, see how it's working, and, you know, check their food out. A lot of times they offer it. They're pretty proud of what they made. So it's, sometimes I watch myself. I'm not quite sure I've got the guts to do it, but, you know, lead by example. So, but that's a great way to get a sense as a scout leader, what's going on in your patrol. Or you can have leaders patrol. That's the way we do it. We have an adult patrol box and we lead by example. A lot of times leaders, in our troop, we don't allow ramen noodles unless it's part of a recipe or, Lunchables or anything like that. But they have to, but we set the bar. So I get tired of seeing, spaghetti all the time. So leaders will turn around and we'll say, all right, we're going to have steak, shrimp, cocktail, whatever, and there you go. And next thing at a camp out, they all want half of what we're eating. And like, oh, you could have had that, So it's just a way to, set an example and have some fun with it, with the kids. Of course, cleanup, it's pretty simple. Patrol creates their own cleaning schedule. I didn't really get into a lot of detail on that, but our troop pretty much we use troop cleanup, not patrol cleanup usually. So there's big buckets. We do the 4-bucket process. They know the rules, and each patrol they rotate. I've learned over the years, patrols like if I'm cooking, you 3 are cooking, you 2 are cleaning, and then the next meal, the 2 that clean, they're going to be doing the cooking. The other group's doing the cleaning. So that's kind of like how they have adapted to the cleanup schedule. And that's pretty much it real quick. I know we're out of time, so I'm just kind of rattling all through this stuff. So you got any questions on any of that? Did I put you to sleep? You hungry? I was going to fill it up with a bunch of pictures and photos and, but, just trying to, keep it quick. So answer your questions. Do I have a PDF of the prayer cards? I do. I'll have to go to the external drive. I kept all my wood badge stuff from I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. So, but I think I do have it. I'll send it out. I'll send it to Matt. We can throw it up on the thing. I do have a luggage tag laminator, and I think I have like 1,000 laminating things. So, if anybody wants, so we can you know what? If you tell me you want to do something like that, I can bring the stuff to the next roundtable in person and people can luggage tag all day long. And, but the prayer cards actually was a pretty good idea. I was surprised when the kids used it. So, got it. There you go. And we only got 47 seconds left.
If you want to start, you can. Otherwise, we can discuss at the breakout or the forum.
Right, and a lot of that stuff, a lot of the info on the slide too, is stuff that Mike sent me too. I just took a lot of his stuff and slammed it in there and stuff. So I thank you, Mike, for that help that sped that process along.
Welcome.
Welcome back. This is our opportunity for a few minutes of sharing and asking and getting questions answered and things like that before we go into our closing. So I'm going to say 5 to 10 minutes, but if we need longer, we take what time you feel we need. Okay?
Ellie?
Yes.
Can I bring something up, please?
Please.
Okay, I was hoping to do this with the Scouts BSA, but we ran out of time. Because this is on the camp read that's coming up. I want to reiterate what Greg said earlier, is that registration is closing tomorrow night because we need to make sure we have enough materials. So any unit that is planning to go, if you have not registered, if you want to at least get in and register, even if you can't pay, so we know what the numbers are and we can be ready. Also on Wednesday, I'm going to be spending time figuring out who is going to be camping where, because we have a lot of units and we have to get them all into campsites and so on. So I need to deal with that. So I need numbers by tomorrow night. Secondly, after that's done on Wednesday, hopefully Wednesday night, I'll be sending out to every unit leader the assignment for the camp, and I'll also give you a preliminary schedule of the day. So I'll tell you right now, George, there's going to be a fairly good sized amount of time for cooking dinner. So if you want to think about that. And then the third thing, and this is, the most important, Steve Scannella and I have been working on this for a while. We've got some great programs, but we are still in need of some help on the staffing side for presenting sessions. So if you or anybody you know can help us out during the day, Saturday, with some of our emergency stations, please let me know and I'll be in touch because we have a number of different sessions that we need help with. So thank you very much.
Anyone else? Any other questions, concerns? There are lots of different things in going on in the chat. Some announcements about Philmont and National Jamboree, things like that. So please take a look in chat for some of that informational update. And I'm not seeing any other hands raised about anything, so I will go to sharing my screen. And where did it go? There it is. I'm going to go to our closing. I chose to think about Veterans Day as part of our closing because typically with roundtables, we are planning in October for our November meetings. So with Veterans Day coming up before we are together again for our in-person roundtable, just to give you a reminder, November 20th, in person at Moses, 3 to roughly 4:30. We will be putting out some information as to where exactly to meet up, but my gut is telling me that we will be in the Scoutcraft area, but we'll have some signage and things like that. But Veterans Day will happen before then, and Veterans Day, of course, honors all American veterans, both the living and the dead. And it's largely intended to thank our living veterans for dedicated and loyal service to their country. So each year, November 11th is the day we let veterans know that we appreciate the sacrifices they and their families have made in their lives to keep our country free. And as you see, there's a quote from JFK. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. So as we leave our roundtable tonight, let's live by those words, and I will see you all in November. Have a great evening, everybody. Good night.